Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lecture 4 of chapter 1b. We are still continuing with fracture, fatigue and creep, and it is still the introduction chapter. We will first review the lecture 3 that we did. Then we will continue talking of fatigue of metals. We will give you some more examples to solve. Then we will talk of structural changes in fatigue. Then the factors affecting the fatigue strength, then improving fatigue life. Then a new topic will start: fatigue crack propagation rate, the rate at which the crack grows. Inside it, we will talk of stress and crack length, fatigue crack growth versus delta K, the stress intensity range we will see, and fatigue life calculation. And we will stop at fatigue life calculation and continue with this in the next lecture also, inshallah. So let us quickly go through what you covered in lecture 3, because last time you had the quiz, so mentally you would be a little far from what lecture we covered. We continued with the design example about the spherical pressure vessel that we had given to you in the earlier lecture and asked you to solve it, but then we started solving it in the class. We talked of the first approach, which is yielding before failure, and we listed the metals in table B5 of the appendix. And the second approach was the leak before break approach, right, where you need the equation for the hoop stress, which is this equation, and then we actually started solving it. So the same equation, K1 is equal to y sigma root pi a, we rearranged it, we took it to the critical level and separated out A, the critical crack length that we will need, and then we saw how to solve it. And we have the table, all the different metals are there. There are ceramics and other semiconducting materials also. There are polymers and furthermore materials in the table. It's a very nice big table with values of fracture toughness and yield strength or strength. And then this ranking that based on method A of yielding before failure, we had this as the deciding factor, that the critical crack length actually reduced to this because all the other things remained the same. So highest value is here and then the lower ones. Then we went to approach 2. Again, the equation is the same, K1 is equal to y sigma root pi a, but this time because it will leak before break, so the crack should grow through the thickness. So the maximum length of the crack is T, the thickness of the material, and we rearranged the equation for hoop stress, combined the two equations together and made them into an equation for the maximum pressure that you could allow. Maximum pressure, and again these values will be the same, so it will reduce to this, that the maximum pressure that you can allow for leak before break should be what. And then we listed the things and so on, and again very surprisingly you found that the same material, the medium carbon steel, is the best material. So therefore we reminded you that though there are materials which are much higher in strength, but as a general rule, not always true, as a general rule, if a material has very high strength, then its fracture toughness is a little low. That is a general rule. So if we are in a fatigue type of problem, or where we know that during the service life, fracture failure will be the most dominant failure, not failure through plastic deformation, not failure through surface wear and so on, not failure through compressive stresses, but failure through tensile loads or fatigue loads resulting in ultimate fracture, then we would select a material of good strength but which also has a pretty good fracture toughness. Then we talked of fatigue of metals as a major topic, starting a new major topic of fatigue. We showed you a key way in a shaft. Shafts are joined by keys and keyways where fatigue failure happens. We went to fatigue testing and we talked of the rotating beam test and the SN curve. Right, we showed you the schematic of a fatigue testing machine. We showed you the details of the specimen or the sample for a fatigue test that is made with threaded ends. We again showed you the schematic and showed you that we can put different loads on the fatigue sample, not just its own weight. We talked of the stress and number of cycles to failure. S is a stress, N is number of cycles to failure. So we talked of the SN curve. We showed you two representative materials, right? 1047 steel and 2014 T6 aluminum alloy. One of them has an endurance limit, the other does not have an endurance limit, so the fatigue life will keep on decreasing. Again, we showed you from a design viewpoint that if a material has an endurance limit, then where are we safe and unsafe? And if a material does not have an endurance limit, then which are the safe and unsafe sites for design? We then talked of simple calculations of cyclic stress, mean stress, stress amplitude, stress range, stress ratio, and so on. We told you that the way these variations can be above and below a mean value, all the loads could be positive, the loads could be positive and negative, the loads could be very symmetric, the loads could be very random, but they are all fatigue loads. And then we talked again, as I several times do, once again the key points and so on. So just a recap of the topic. Then we did a simple example, nothing very big, that we give you the mean stress and the stress amplitude and ask you to compute the maximum and minimum stress levels, the stress ratio, and the other things. So we went along, you did it, and then that, right, you have the definition of the mean stress. So max plus min. So from this definition, and it is given as 70. So you get this equation from here. Similarly, you have the definition of amplitude, max minus min upon 2. And this is given as this. So from here you get this equation. Then you take this one and this one, add them or subtract them, and find the values of sigma max and sigma min. Once sigma max and sigma min are done, then the other things are just. So we finish, but let me continue with this. I have already shown you this. Now once you have max and min, then stress ratio is min upon max and stress range is max minus min, right? So somehow this part I think I had done last time, but when I was looking, this was perhaps missing from the lecture in the explanation part. Otherwise we had done it already. So of course, I mean, when we actually do fatigue experiments, then we have to set the stress ratio and other things, and we many times see that if it is the same metal, exactly same specimen dimensions and so on, and exactly same load, but when we change these conditions, the stress range and so forth, then the fatigue strength of the material and the fatigue behavior of the material can change. So now let us proceed further. Let us do another example. So again, don't look at the whole thing, read with me, and when I ask you to stop and do it yourself, do exactly that to get more practice. So a cylindrical 1045 steel bar, the figure is given here. So it is 1045 steel bar, it is cylindrical, is subjected to repeated compression tension stress cycling. Compression tension. If the load amplitude is 66,700 Newton, 66.7 kilonewton, load amplitude, compute the minimum allowable bar diameter to ensure that fatigue failure will not occur. Assume a safety factor of 2. So Now, when you start solving it, what are the main principles of solving? Read it carefully. So, read it carefully again. Take down the data. Take down the data. Material is given, amplitude is given, safety factor is given. And we want to find the minimum allowable bar diameter so that failure will never occur. Fatigue failure will never occur, right? And this diagram is given. And this diagram is given. So one thing I will already tell you now, don't go to the diagram first. Let us go to the diagram. We have 1045 steel, we have 2014 T6 aluminum alloy, and we have red brass. So 1045 steel means this is our curve. So in this diagram, forget about these things. Forget about these things. Now go back here. When we say compute the minimum allowable bar diameter to ensure that fatigue will not occur. So we have to find the bar diameter. How will you find the bar diameter? How will you find the bar diameter? Right? So now you think, you look at the diagram, you pause my lecture and you solve. And once you have completely solved it, then start listening to me again, right? Always, like always, right? Take your pen and pencil and whatever paper, solve this as you would like to solve it. Sometimes it's a very simple solution, sometimes you have to think a little, solve it. Once you are sure that you have solved it correctly, right? Don't solve it and immediately start listening. Solve it, review, right? Review your problem that, oh, if I am the examiner of my own question, do I think that I have done everything correctly? Once you are very sure, then look at it. Okay, so look at it. So now we have paused it. When you will start listening to me again, then we'll see. Right, so now we are listening. Compute the minimum allowable bar diameter. Of course, it is fatigue. Fatigue is also a stress problem. So you have to find the stress. Stress is force upon area. Stress is force upon area. If it is a cylindrical piece, then the cross-sectional area is pi r squared or pi by 4 d squared. So therefore, in the stress value, you will have force upon this, right? So therefore, you can find out. Now, what is given? Load amplitude, right? Load amplitude, not stress amplitude. Load amplitude is given. It is not the load. You see, stress is load upon area, but here load amplitude is given. So should we go to the amplitude sigma A formula, the amplitude formula? Yes or no? Another thing is that a safety factor is given. A safety factor is given. So whatever load we find out, we use the safety factor there because of trying to make it safe. So, okay, those of you who are observant, you see, normally what do you see? Normally it is an SN curve. So here is the stress and here is the cycles to failure, right? Now, two things are to be seen here. When they say fatigue failure will never occur, it means there should be an endurance limit. So yes, for 1045 steel, there is an endurance limit. So if the stress is lower than this, so this is the maximum value. This is the maximum value of the stress that you can take. If the stress is lower than this, then it will continue, the life will continue. So whenever they say that fatigue failure will not occur, then the material should be such a material that it has endurance limit. So yes, we have that.